Holly Ball is a beautiful, elegant, but more importantly, an important event for our community.
Holly Ball is a magical evening and a beautiful way for the community to be able to give back.
Holly Ball is love and empathy and charity for the work that CentraCare Hospice does, that the Coburn Cancer Center does, and that the Child Advocacy Center does.
But it really is a time to come together as a community to support not only those three initiatives, but also one another during the holidays.
Holly Ball is life-changing, and it's going to be life-changing for years to come with people who continue to support the cause.
Bernice Landy was chairman of the auxiliary, and for years she had been pushing to try to get a community fundraiser for the hospital. And then Patty calls me and says, you're chairman of the Dental Lives, so you got to sign up.
The very first chairs there were three of them always. There was one from the dentist group, one from the medical group, and one from the medical auxiliary at the hospital. So there were always threes. And it was just sort of passed down to us. If we happened to be one of those organizations, we got asked if we would do it. And it was really kind of tough going because nobody knew what this project was. People wouldn't understand what in St. Cloud. What do we know? Do we know what is a Holly Ball? It wasn't called Holly Ball. It was called Christmas Wonderland or something.
It was at the Germain Hotel at that time. We did not have any funding for supplies or anything. So what we did, we went out and collected tumbleweed. Talked to the maintenance department at the hospital, and they agreed to spray paint all these tumbleweeds so that we could hang them for decoration.
Shortly after, I was talking to one of the fire chiefs, and he said, if I had known that you had those sprayed tumbleweeds all over the inside of that place, and this was the 70s, everybody was smoking, he said that place was a fire trap. He said we would have closed the thing down.
Our ticket sales did not go over at all. So we started pounding doors downtown St. Germain, and we got a little feedback from some of the store owners. They said, why on earth should I support the equipment for the hospital to operate when I could not do that for my own business? True.
You didn't have big committees like you have now. You didn't have all the sponsors. It was fun. We had a good time.
You know, it was well attended. It was the same goal, but it was a challenge to decorate it. And then it was shortly after that we moved to the Holiday Inn, and that went on for many years.
The Holiday Inn having Holly Ball was great. The layout was different. It wasn't wide open spaces like River's Edge is, but it was very, I would say, warmer, and it was very kind of more compact.
It was over in the pool area, and we covered up pools, and the social was there, and that went into the ballrooms, and at that time Legends was a special donor reception area.
And I remember the food was separate, in a separate area to eat, and then you'd go into a place where you would dance.
Mostly, we didn't have the great big themes of those years because it was just Holly Ball Tree Festival. And the trees took center stage.
I remember being very young and helping my mom and the team decorate Christmas trees all around the pool at the Holiday Inn.
Barbara Brown was the head of the volunteer department at that time, and she had just returned from California for a volunteers convention. And she came back, and I walked into her office and I said, we've got to do something to make some money. And she said, well, let's work together. And she told me about the tree festival that they had and how successful it was. She said, instead of just doing trees, you go to the various businesses in town and you ask them if they will decorate a tree for you.
They were just gorgeous. Like Finger Hut, for example, had all of their gals that were working there and that knew something about sewing, sewed all these beautiful satin ornaments, and it was all handmade. Every piece of everything on the tree was handmade. It was absolutely gorgeous.
And then, of course, we auctioned them off, and it was highly successful. And after that, we always had a Sunday when people could come free to see the trees. And then we, of course, by that time they were auctioned off. Then we had to, in those days, we delivered them, if you can imagine.
Woo, okay, so the day after the ball, we have to deliver these trees. Well, we've had a horrible snowstorm with ice and sleet and whatever. We hired a U-Haul, and fortunately a U-Haul driver, because we would have been killed. And one of the places we had to deliver to was way out in the country by one of the lakes. And how we got on this road, we started sliding down into the lake with this truck with the trees. And fortunately, the driver was really good, and he got us back up on the road, and we delivered that tree. And we said, no more deliveries. Next year, everybody takes them home right from the ball.
We had the tree festival almost every year at the Holiday Inn that we were there. And then that was it, because when they moved it out of the Holiday Inn, we did not have it anymore.
Super fun to see the transformation from that location into the River Center.
When you walk through those Civic Center doors, everything is transformed, and you see the setups and all of the work and the spirit and the love that has gone into everything.
To plan a Holly Ball, we really start a year in advance. So as soon as the previous year Holly Ball ends, we start immediately planning. Lots of meetings, lots of getting sponsors.
I think coming down with the theme is the hardest part. The rest flows easy after that.
Every year it was somebody else's creative ideas of what to bring and what would entice people to come to the Holly Ball. So the themes were always really exciting, and we looked forward to seeing the theme every year.
2010 Holly Ball was Chocolate Decadence and Champagne Dreams. And I remember that year we had blue and brown streamers hanging from the ceiling everywhere in the dining room. And we had chocolatiers come in, anything chocolate fountains were brought in, and it was just an amazing night.
My year was more of a butterfly theme.
Flight of Fancy, a butterfly's journey. And it was all about like this taupe color theme, butterflies, more neutral colors.
And so it was all just really glittery and butterflies, and again, just tried to carry out that a little bit, just a little more of a happy sentiment.
The final year that I was co-chair, they brought us all back for the 40th anniversary of Holly Ball. Called it Holly Ball a Ruby Christmas, and so there are a lot of reds and blacks and very elegant. And also that year, we really wanted to have Hairball have an after party, and so we wanted to have Hairball perform after the event. So that was a late night.
The 2020 Holly Ball, since I had already been involved for 14 years, I had a very, I knew that I really wanted to focus my Holly Ball around music, and I had everything set together. I knew what the tables were going to look like. I knew we were going to have records for chargers. We were going to have like broken instrument repurposed for centerpieces. So we had a ton of things coming in and being donated. We got to that beginning of 2020, that February-March timeframe when the pandemic happened, and we kind of started to not just plan it in person, but we kind of started to have that feeling that maybe we need to switch. We need to kind of switch the dynamic, and it might not be able to be in person. So there was an amazing team of people who are way smarter at bringing it online than I was, that took pieces of the vision for it to be about music and brought that online.
These are strange days, my friend, but you'll be back again in beautiful Terry Hawes Hall.
But for now you'll be entertained virtually. It's time to start
The 2020 Live.
Totally not pre-recorded.
Definitely socially distanced.
Like 6 feet apart.
12 feet apart.
Like 50 feet apart.
Like in separate cars.
Like in separate houses.
Separate planets.
Holly-ball.
So for Holly-ball 2021, we wanted to just still bring people together in more of a live, real performance.
Welcome to Holly-ball 2021, a celebration of music. Coming to you live from River's Edge Convention Center in beautiful downtown St. Cloud.
So we were able to have the bands, like we put together like a real band stage, and we were able to have the bands move out, we were able to have the performers move in and out. We were able to bring some dance elements, but it was the videography and the choreography and the production behind that was so amazing. You know, we took it from being an in-person event to bringing people into it through the camera lens, through their TVs, through the comfort of their homes.
The first live Holly-ball after 2 pandemics, 2 years of being virtual. Our theme was silver linings. It was such a fitting theme. When you walked in the door, it was blue and silver and Christmassy, and it was about bringing people back together.
So my theme was Be the Good, and I really felt like by bringing in the community involvement and all together, we're small pieces. We're like the raindrop that trickles and becomes the river within our community. And so being the good comes in a lot of different things. Volunteerism, bringing back in donations, how can we sponsor each other and uplift? In addition to that, it was just bringing all these magical winter feels, which Holly-ball really started with. It was a winter wonderland.
This year we're trying to do a little bit more than we normally do, but the theme is Seasons of Love, being that it's the 50th, and all the love that the chairs have and all the volunteers have done over the years as well, and all the timing that they put into making this a very special event in St. Cloud.
Well, Holly-ball is the first Saturday in December, and we start planning a couple of weeks later. Everyone's wheels are turning, and we're brainstorming, and we're thinking how we can make it bigger and better, trying to get more people involved. You know, one of my favorite things in the last few years is seeing how many younger people are volunteering.
Holly-ball has the most amazing group of volunteers who are just a creative, collaborative group of people who are passionate about volunteering and bringing funds for CentraCare Hospice, for the Coburn's Cancer Center, and then also for the Child Advocacy Center.
Once you see what it takes and what people go through to put this on, it takes a village. It's hours and hours, but you know, many hands make a lighter load, and everyone has their own job.
There's quite a few committees. I'm guessing 5-ish committees, and then all the CentraCare staff that do all the background stuff that nobody sees.
We had warehouse nights where we would put all these things together, and there'd be volunteers in people's garages or in different warehouses trying to organize all that.
So the Holly-ball week is an extremely exciting week. We all come together, we have the teams, the electricians, Design Electric, and everything they can do, the magic that all of these people can do. They donate their time and their talent to bring this all together, and we really have a lot of fun.
I would say that the chairs would come up with all the ideas, And then the staff at CentraCare and everybody else would try to make those ideas happen. And you would see that at every Holly Ball. That would be the wine bottles hanging as chandeliers. We had that idea from the airport that we saw.
And of course, chandeliers, when they come, all the pieces are just everywhere. And there's a million pieces to be put together, and every year they fall apart. And I need a ton of people to help put them together.
We get 20 to 25 of our friends and neighbors to help, and Design Electric sends over 3 or 4 apprentices plus me. The most elaborate year was probably 400 different fixture items in the ceiling. Sometimes it's much less than that, but that's about the most. We have 900 to 1,000 cords that we put up in the ceiling and then take back down again.
CentraCare was very good about feeding all the volunteers, having meals for everybody during setup, and during tear down, a big breakfast, and really appreciated all their volunteers. And they worked hard.
We look at it when we're done the night before and we all go, ooh, ah, that really was cool. But the best thing to me is Saturday night when the people come, when it's full of people, and you can see that they enjoy it too.
I think Holly Ball, the feeling actually starts before even the valet. It starts when the preparation, the social media is coming out, the excitement of finding out who's going to be there, maybe the little rumblings of who's the bands or what's going to be the dinners.
It's magical. It's magical. You know, from the valet that is taking your car, which is a free service that they donate. You get to walk down a beautiful red carpet. This year it'll be a gold carpet for 50th. And all the decorations are crazy amazing. Yeah, just beautiful.
And then everybody's dressed in their glamour gowns, their beautiful suits and tuxedos, and it's a red carpet event, and you're kind of being funneled, and then there's people there to take pictures, and these pictures are memorable for life.
I would say the fashion is just fun. I think people like a good theme, almost like a Christmas prom, a holiday prom, if you will, and it's kind of a do-over, to be honest. Holly Ball. And so you see the long gowns, anything really goes. You can wear a regular dress, lovely dress, or a pantsuit, or anything you want. But I would say that the chairs would wear long gowns most of the time.
It really feels like a princess when you walk in, and everything is just so elegant.
You know, it is a really emotional program. Generally, it again has different speakers who talk about, you know, their experiences on the receiving end of philanthropic gifts. It generally has some staff input about what those donations mean to their work. But that messaging is so emotional and so impactful that it feels very powerful, but not in a heavy kind of way.
And Holly Ball itself is a great time to come together and celebrate hospice, to celebrate the Coburn Cancer Center, and now to celebrate the Child Advocacy Center as well, and all the good work that all of these nonprofit organizations are doing for people out in the communities where all of us live.
And knowing that everyone is there to support such wonderful causes just really fills and warms my heart and the hearts of others.